Hey, what's up? This is Tony, aka Shay, coming back with YORUBADE once again. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, do definitely check out my other videos. If you're a repeat viewer, then I appreciate you actually coming back. So I'm gonna get right into it. I seen a post that had the thumbnail of this video, and when I first saw it, I got frustrated with what I saw, and especially the comment. And I made sure to highlight the comment so you can, see the part that really triggered me. Now, I have my 20 bullet points of why I feel Nigerian Americans aren't shit. And this is going to include me too. I have to talk about myself because I used to have this, or, I'm working on this mentality myself. So we all need to clean house and really get our act together. So it's not to exclude me, but include me as well, because I think we all need to get our asses kicked for what's going on in Nigeria, and just how the situation continues to get worse. And even us over here, I can see what's going on, and I don't like it. As far as our community and where we're heading, and how I feel like we're becoming more powerless every day. So I got my notes that I've took. I'm gonna be just reading off every bullet point, and I'm gonna try to give examples for each one. But these are my own personal thoughts. This is what I've seen. Just reading and doing my own research. And I think someone has to say something, because right now, from what I'm seeing on social media, on YouTube, I feel like just about all of us are just sleepwalking, and we don't really see the dire situation that we're in. There's no sense of urgency to really change the course. So I'm going to take it upon myself to be that person that gets all the darts, because I'm sure a lot of stuff I'm going to say is going to offend a couple people, but regardless, I don't care, because it's the medicine that I think we all need. So few points I just want to make, just so everyone understands my position. I don't feel that all white people are bad, but due to the evidence and history, I do feel the majority, overwhelmingly, white people as a majority are they can't be trusted. And the same goes for the Chinese. I just don't trust them. I can understand doing business from time to time, but this whole kumbaya, let's all be together and let's stop this, no. It's too late. It's too late for that. Enough of the passivity. Enough of the docile approach. I just want to be left alone. And I think deep down inside, all of us, Nigerians, Africans, black people, we want to be left alone. We don't want interference with white people. We just don't want them around. If we're being honest with ourselves, and I'm gonna say it, I really don't want to be around them like that. I just don't trust them, and it actually makes me feel uncomfortable. So going with the first bullet point, my generation, at least growing up in the household, I wasn't really taught by my cultural history, Nigeria. The only thing I really got from it was the mannerisms, the food choices, jollof rice, Nollywood, the music. That's really what I learned from when I was conscious enough about who I am. So maybe around the age of 8, even through like college, this is what I really got. So it was just reinforcing in my head over and over and over. This is what the culture is. Nigerian culture is. I was never taught about the different empires, the Nok Kingdom, the Benin Empire, the Oyo Empire, Sokoto Kingdom or Empire. I wasn't taught about these different kingdoms. So essentially, the culture I got was more so about entertainment, an over focus on entertainment rather than building and creating new societies. that's a problem for reasons that I think are obvious. You spend so much time about entertaining somebody and not enough about building. So how do you expect to liberate yourself? Second point, I believe we are groomed to assimilate, especially when it comes to our schooling. Public school over here, you're not really taught to think for yourself. You're taught to follow. My parents will say, just listen to the teacher, and that's it. We're not taught about our history, and we're not taught about just the evils of this country. So I remember there was a situation in Texas, I believe, where in the textbooks, in the history textbooks, there was actually changing the word slave to workers. And I mean, for them to think that was okay, it's ludicrous. So that's what this is what they put in our school systems. This is what we're taught. We're taught subconsciously to devalue ourselves and to place white people as the primary people to know about, even though a lot of times we didn't really care. I know me growing up, I didn't really care about European history. It just was boring. I would love to have learned about at least West African history, but never did. So we're taught to obey and to not question the teacher. There goes our miseducation of history due to them because they control it, and we're not developing our critical thinking skills, which definitely is a huge problem. So, number 3, culture is kept for entertainment, but not for power, influence. So, just imagine reversing the roles of us and white people. So imagine if white people just focused on what their ancestors did when they were in the caves. So like just writing on walls and maybe how they killed their, I don't know, mountain lion or whatever. And they just focus on that part and maybe doing some dance circles or whatever they did. Instead of focusing on the Roman Empire, conquering it, all the, really getting all the loot and stuff like that, or expanding their territory. Imagine if white people just focus on what they did in the caves. Well, I mean, they probably won't be thinking about, or they wouldn't, have what they have now, the systems that they have now. I feel when it comes to us, we place so much focus on, traditions are good, how to greet people and stuff like that, but as far as like how to make fufu with the stick, and how we walked on our grandparents or whatever walked on the roads. I see the pictures like barefoot. That's all cool, but damn it, why aren't we being taught about how they defended their societies, or their the tribal conflicts or whatever, at least understanding why they were fighting each other, Oyo Empire, like why weren't we taught about this stuff, especially when we was in the Iron Age before Europeans got there. So like just I want to hear something more than just food and entertainment. So that's, what's that, number 3. Number 4, we are being recolonized mentally. So symbolism is just a way of escape for us. I feel we subconsciously accept the role as a subordinate class. Now, with all the protests that were going on, really about last week and 2 weeks ago, there's still something going on, but holding up signs, protesting in Nigeria. I saw the protests going on in Nigeria, and I mean that seems to be it for us. No strategic thinking, like just it's like we can't do anything more except just make noise. We still got a large group of us that crave awards from the dominant society. So whether it be Nollywood actresses and actors getting awards from Hollywood, or music awards. Remember DeVito went to BET. You know, BET is not owned by us, but regardless, you know, again, those accolades and degrees, all that's included, like, just our focus on what another group of people created for us, that limits us. It limits the possibilities that, you know, our imagination, that we don't need to wait around for them to validate us. We can validate ourselves. Number 5, we chastise black countries as other groups that don't like us do it. So, you know, so Nigeria. We talk shit about Nigeria all the time. And other people talk about Nigeria all the time. Now, granted, Nigeria has some issues, especially when it comes to politics. There's a lot of corruption, but there's also a lot of corruption in America, in Europe, in Canada, and everywhere else. There's always going to be corruption. Now, what America does different is they try to at least maintain some type of veil of them being law-abiding citizens. But regardless, they do a lot of corruption, and I think theirs is worse because they actually meddle in the affairs of other countries. Nigeria doesn't do that. It just sabotages its own people, which is, I mean, disgusting. Regardless, we join in the criticism of Nigeria publicly a lot. And maybe you might see this as being critical of Nigeria. I'm not talking to Nigeria. I'm talking to us in the diaspora. I want to be more critical of us because, you know, we have the power to get things done. So, number 6, we only feel powerful through protests. We are incapable of coming up with a credible threat. So whether it be in Nigeria or here, if we want to see something get done, then we have to have a credible threat. I don't like the notion of begging our oppressor to treat us better. Like, why? The fact that they have that power to dictate how our life will go is racism. They shouldn't have that power, but we don't see that way. We've been conditioned to think, okay, they are our mommies and daddies, and if we, you know, make enough noise, then they'll listen to us. So just, you know, now I guess I'll just take it back to Nigeria. I saw some of the protests that was going on, and I don't know why they think that will work. Given the history of Nigerian leaders, to me, I know it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of energy to protest in Nigeria when they clearly show that they don't give a damn about you. So us in the diaspora, protesting, just protesting, is not bettering our own communities. I hope I'm making the correlation easy for you all, or hopefully you can understand what I'm saying. But just the fact that we rely on protests to create some type of sustainable change is, we need to drop that. It's not working. It really isn't, and it didn't work in a sustainable way, empowering way in the civil rights era, in my opinion, because look where we're at now. At least us as immigrants, or the children of immigrant people. I ain't gonna try to make it more confusing, but that's just my thoughts on that. So, where am I at? Number 7. So, okay. So my question is, where is the Nigerian excellence? I feel we are too much of a coward to even plan a takeover. So we're always screaming Nigerian excellence, but when it comes to actually coming up with solutions to the problems in Nigeria, we don't have any. all we have is complaints and, I mean, excuses. Nobody wants to sacrifice. No one wants to put in that groundwork in, so we can at least build a foundation for our children to build off of. We want someone to do it for us. We don't want to create any systems. It's like childlike in mind. You know, we will complain, but we don't want to come up with the solution to our own problems, and we just rely on white systems to take care of us. And if nobody white goes into Nigeria, then it's just going to be the way it is. Number 8, we only do well in industries our oppressors create for us to work in. So I guess it goes back to that black excellence. Like, if black excellence is working for, let's just say, John Hopkins, then, I mean, you probably don't know your history or the history of John Hopkins. Like, John Hopkins actually has a long history of racist acts. Now, I mean, it can be different now, but really look at the board. Who controls the main operations of that hospital? Do you see any black faces? Now, my opinion, I don't want to get mad about stuff like that anymore. I just don't, because I try to flip the roles and say, okay, if I create a university or a hospital, I want to have people that look like me and people that I can relate to working for me, or not working for me, but working with me, or part owners or whatever. And then I don't care who, you know, I'll try to look out for my people to work in the hospitals, but that, you know, as far as like employees and stuff like that, that's, you know, it doesn't matter too much. But as far as like who's on my team, it's probably gonna be people that look like me. That is how we succeed. That is how we get our accolades. We didn't build our own hospitals. We didn't build our own clinics. We didn't go back to the motherland and actually build it. No, we just, you know, we just continue to work in the other systems, and we be quiet and we do what we're supposed to do. Now, I was actually looking up the history of Mount Sinai, and the way it started was very interesting, and it would be nice if we can do something similar. Now, if you really want to know the history, you go look it up. I'm a big believer of doing your own damn work, and I don't hold hands over here. So, number 9, internally we believe we can't do what other groups do every day. So, a question for you is, have you ever considered building in Nigeria with a group or whatever? I mean, it has to be with a group. Building something sustainable in Nigeria so that your children can have that option to repatriate. Like, has that even crossed your mind? Or if it did, like, are you in the works of actually making a plan that makes sense, is strategic? If you haven't, well, there's a reason why we ain't shit. Number 10, we don't feel a responsibility to invest back home in a sustainable way. So either we write it off as it's impossible, or we are naive in thinking and believe if we just throw money at it or give our family member money, that they will create some type of miracle and then everything will be good. But it never happens that way, and the person always fails. So the same way that you gave your attention to getting your degree, you know, all those years that you had to put in, all that focus, attention, that energy, or getting the house, the research that you had to do, the money you had to come up with, applying for the loan, showing all the bank statements and stuff like that, getting a car, you know, what you had to do for that. Like, the energy that you put in getting those things that you want, you understood that you had to put in that work. But when it comes to Nigeria, it's like we don't want to scratch the surface. So, big reason why we ain't shit. right, number 11. We deem ourselves successful with degrees. I see this as bullets without a gun. You are not successful just by having a degree. Your skills make you successful. If you can't add value to the job market, then you're useless. No one wants you. If you can't do anything to benefit a company, doesn't matter how many degrees you got, you don't have any skills. So let's just get rid of that. Just having degrees don't mean shit. I got 2 of them, engineering and physics. And I mean, I didn't really come out with any tangible skills. Didn't do any internships, would have loved to, but just never got the chance. And you can say there was, racism played a part of it, a part in it. Because I was hearing about some white boys that was their grades suck, and they was somehow, but anyways, I'm not even, whatever. I'm just saying, just focusing on degrees as your means of success it's a failing strategy, because we all have degrees. And are we any more powerful? Like, are we controlling anything? So it's all about the skills. Number 12. So, do we read about societies that do well? So the biggest one that we all know about is the Roman Empire. What made them successful was that they became really good at building systems, specifically the road systems, because it made it easier for trade. And when they conquered people, they just expand their land or their territory, and they would let the people work the land, but they'll have to pay tax, and that's how they got the money and became completely rich. Like, do we study these civilizations? Do we study, to see what they did right, and maybe we can, try to custom it to this century? Do we do that? Well, no. 13. Do we study how societies fail? So going back to the Roman Empire, they failed because they overextended themselves. They kept on conquering other people, and eventually they just couldn't manage all the land that they had. They wasn't really making money. They was mistreated. So a lot of their ways of getting money was slavery, and they just, it wasn't sustainable at the end. A lot of revolts, and it just didn't work out. And then they just started to break, and then finally it fell. So do we study these civilizations so that we don't make the same mistakes that they did? I highly doubt it, because we're so focused on getting damn degrees. Where are we at? So 14. We don't take the time to study white supremacy and what it actually is and how it operates, how it works. Now, there's a good bit of us that think that racism, white supremacy is solely someone calling you the N-word, or saying they don't like you or don't want to work with you or whatever. The white supremacy is a system to oppress people. In this situation, black people. So, damn whoever don't like you, stop asking or telling people your lives matter. They don't care. History has showed us that they never cared. And they don't care now. They really don't. You need to know that your life matters. And then you build from there. Whoever doesn't like you, don't bang with them. Be able to defend yourself and strengthen your community. Stop relying on someone else to give you encouragement. Another group of people to give you encouragement when when they're the ones that are causing the chaos that happens in our communities. So 15. Can we provide for ourselves for a month without the help of white people? So, do we have grocery stores that are owned by us? Do we have schools that are owned by us? Do we have hospitals that are owned by us? Do we have banks that are owned by us? And this goes for really, black people. If you're really trying to break the system and really trying to, stick it to them, then it's probably not good to be so reliant on them, because that's what we are. We completely rely on this system to take care of us. And if we don't have it, then we essentially, we can't even communicate because we don't own telecommunications. So that's, this is all about power. This is all about white supremacy. And these are just things we should really think about. Like, how can we keep calling ourselves excellent, and we're not even strategizing how we can get to a place where we can be completely self-sufficient from their systems. All right. 16. Degrees don't mean shit if you can't benefit your own community. I think we need to redefine what the purpose of advanced degrees, higher education is supposed to mean. So you get educated so that you can take that education and benefit your society. That's how it was in the past. And even now, if all you're doing is getting degrees and you're working for the same system that oppresses you, how are you liberating yourself? You're really fooling yourself. If it's one thing to, you work for the company, you try to get the skills, you try to learn as much as you can, and then you bring it back to your community. But we're not doing that. We stay, we get comfortable, and we will send charity back home. We will chastise, people back home why they're not getting any better. We're kind of in a privileged position at that, as far as compared to like the Nigerians in the land. It's not right, and you can't just point the finger at Nigerians when you're not lending a hand to really empower and help. Yeah, I don't know. Have you even think about yourself since you had your degree? Have you tried to do some type of sustainable change in Nigeria since having that degree, or have you even planned a way to do something that can be impactful and really shake up the system? Because we get this so much excellence going on. Like, have you yourself thought about this stuff, or are you more concerned with just getting that job and getting that car and getting that house and the wedding and the children, and that's it? And then somehow your children are gonna grow up with the full knowledge of Nigeria. Like, is that your thinking, or is it, So we got number 17. I feel like a lot of us believe we was put on this earth to be employees, and I'm here to tell you that no, your purpose in life is not just to be an employee. It's to help your family, someone other than just your like, we are a community. And just thinking about your one salary, to me, is just selfish thinking. Like, that another part of our community is hurting, but you would take the time to flash that flag when it comes to, okay, who's the best, or when it comes to food or rice or whatever. You want to shout out that flag. Now you're proud. Or when you want to go Igbo or Yoruba, like, you're proud. But what are you doing something to make sure your children's future can be in Nigeria and be a bigger benefit than being in America or anywhere else? So it's important for us to start thinking about 20-year plans, 30-year plans, 50-year plans, 100-year plans, so that when it does get to that point, our legacy or our children are not starting at ground level like we are. Like, it would have been nice if, my parents' generation created some type of barrier or created some type of level where we can start at and then we go up from there. But I mean, we got to build the foundation. It's unfortunate. This is a big one. Number 18, we should all be ashamed of ourselves for allowing Nigeria to be in the condition that it's in as far as the COVID situation. We have the funds where we can all come together and make some type of COVID relief. Like, anytime there's like, we should really be, because we're always sending money back home anyway. So imagine if we had it set up where we create like an economic net, kind of like a social security type thing for the Nigerians there. Now, of course, we're gonna make sure the people that really need it get it, but imagine we had something set up where in situations like this, they're good. They don't have to worry about struggling, or they don't have to turn to crime, because that's what's going on there. A lot of these robberies happen, and a lot of these bribes happen because it's just a lack of opportunity. If you bring in more opportunity, then the rates of crime are going to go down. So we got to put that on us. It's on us. We got to be looking out for the ones over there. 19. With all the degrees, we still can't come up with a plan to take over. So I hear all the time, and I know it too, that the politicians in Nigeria are useless, they're dumb, they're not smart, all these negative adjectives. I then turn around, I'm like, okay, if this is true, why do we make it seem like we can't outsmart them? We can't outdo them. Like, I mean, if they're really that dumb and we're, Nigerian excellence, why can't we come up with a plan to get rid of the shit that they're doing? We have more money than them collectively, no matter how much they try to steal. We have more skills, just working in systems that work. It's a benefit of being America. We at least see, something that is consistent. What's the problem? No think tanks. It's all about jollof wars. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really disappointing. And number 20, I don't feel that we are proud Nigerians. We are a defeated group of people who give lip service to Mother Nigeria, and we don't care enough to actually sacrifice our comfort. So a lot of us will scream Nigeria all day. We are proud. We'll have the flags, flying during Independence Day, but we don't actually try to contribute to Nigeria. We always talk ill of Nigeria, a lot of us. We don't come up with any solutions, and we just let it rot, and we keep on praying that something will change and God will help and all this other religious, talk. And it's just like, yo, you have to do something. You have to put in the work. But we don't want to put in the work because we're comfortable, and why would we want to change that? The last thing I'm going to leave off with is this. White people make up less than 9% of the global population. If they procreate with anyone that's non-white, that baby will not be white. So it essentially means extinction for them. They have a decreasing birth rate, and they benefit from the system of white supremacy. So, I mean, just ask yourself, why would anyone want to give that up? Why would anyone want to help us? Why would that group of people want to help us? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Now, I'm not saying, you know, they're okay, or I mean, there's no problem with what they're doing. I'm just saying, like, think logically. We you know, I keep hearing this ally talk, or you know, we're all in this together. For the ones that are really in charge, why would they want to help black people if they stand to lose? If the playing field is even, we already know we're gonna take off and pass them. I mean, we've done it. I mean, we've been in this planet way before them. So it's like, how does that make sense for them to give up what they got in order to help us? I mean, we would just dominate. So rather than always getting mad, you know, just think about the situation. Think about power. Think about what makes sense. Think critically. Don't just follow the wave of, you know, what politicians say, or get caught up in the symbolism, including Obama and all the other shit that doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. Think about, okay, where are we today versus 10 years ago versus 20 years ago? Are we really making a change in a positive way? If not, then change needs to be